Good morning, everybody. So today I'm at Rolling Hill Park. So this is in Gladwyne, Pennsylvania. We're in Montgomery County. I showed this a couple years ago on the channel, but it is just a super warm day here in February. We're gonna hit about 55 degrees, and I just thought it would be really cool to come hike here. This is about half an hour from where I live, so not a far drive, but there's really cool ruins. So what's behind me now is the former garage. I've done a little bit more research on the ruins, so I'm gonna be able to share some of that with you as we hike through the park. But this is a really cool spot in the Philadelphia area, especially if you like abandoned buildings and ruins and things like that. So be sure to stay tuned. And then it looks like part of the trail access by the Barker's Mill is going to be closed. All right, so the first building you see from the parking lot, that's the ruins of a stone garage. And then this is a cement silo here. And then we've got these stone ruins, and these ruins here are from 1892, according to the park information. I always think it's so cool to see nature kind of find a way to regrow in these places. You can see there's some little trees sprouting up in here. You're gonna be able to hike about 1.8 miles here if you kind of do the full loop. So there's a good chunk of hiking here. This is a park in a residential area, but it's a really cool block of open space. So there are markings on this trail, and then there's also a map on all trails, and then also on the county parks website there's like a map that you can also follow as well. So you can kind of see some evidence of an old stone wall going across there. A little bit on this side too. So having lived in Pennsylvania my whole life, I know when we get these warm days like this, you feel like, oh, spring is here, spring has arrived. And you can get out and enjoy it, but you have to remind yourself not to be fooled, because we so often get March snowstorms, we get those cold snaps, and it feels like winter hangs on to the bitter end. So I'm out enjoying this, but I'm knowing that there's likely a lot more winter still to come, but the end is near. So it's just kind of sitting in the woods here. I think it's an old refrigerator. See, this says the freezer locker. You can see the front of the door. Crazy. It's always kind of interesting when you go to a property that used to be a former estate and things like that, and you can just see plants that normally wouldn't be there are there. So there's all this pachysandra. Looks really beautiful. Little pop of green in the winter time here. All right, so we were on yellow, now we're on red. This mill was active from the 1790s to the 1870s, and you can see it's fenced off. They don't want you to get too close to it. During the 1800s, the mill produced paper, grains, gin, gunpowder. In the 1850s, it was cotton yarn. And then in 1893, there was a disastrous flood here, and the dams and things were never rebuilt again. So this is the historic frame house, and this is circa 1900. So it looks like there's a pathway we can get a little bit closer to it and check it out. Last time my husband and I hiked here, it was spring, maybe close to summer, and all this was just filled in. You really couldn't get up to these buildings. So just such a good time to come here and explore. It really is interesting to just kind of think and imagine what would life have been here to have this building and look out on the creek here. Really cool. So you can see that the stone walls, about 3/4 of it maybe, are intact here. And the doorway is framed by wood, probably to stabilize it, and some of the windows. And then as you can see, the back portion has fallen out and all that kind of stonework is laying here in the house. But I felt pretty safe going into this one because there's no roof and there were no signs warning you to keep out. And then let's look at the view. You were in here looking out. And then of course in this area, you're just gonna see stone walls all throughout this property. They're everywhere. All right, so now we're gonna leave the mill area. We're gonna go back on the trail and we're gonna go and see some of the other tenement houses. And I believe there might be a spring house and a few other interesting things to see along the way. Creek area here is really beautiful. It runs all near the mill area and it starts to get more kind of woodsy and natural. And there's a road, but it doesn't seem like it's heavily traveled. All right, so we've got some signage here. So Mill Creek gets its name from the active mill industry that flourished here from the 1790s to the 1870s. With the large stone ruins that house mill workers. And the mills employed 6 to 10 workers, and the census of 1850 says that there are populations of laborers, mill workers, and craftsmen in the Mill Creek area. So the fence is down. I'm obviously not going to go in there, but we'll go along the fence line here. And then of course they have these signs that these old building ruins have early American charm, but 20th century hazard. Look from a distance, reminisce if you will, but stay out for your own safety. So it's definitely really neat to see these buildings. There's 2 of these ruins here. They're fenced in, so you can't get too close, but in the wintertime, you're really gonna have some good views. All right, so behind me is the other worker housing building. So there's 2 of these here, the north and the south one. So this one's has a little bit more standing to it and it's not fenced in. They don't want you to go in it, but you can certainly kind of take some interesting pictures and walk around the structure and stuff like that. So very cool. Certainly nice to get out this morning, hike here, check out these ruins, check out the trails here, and I hope wherever you are, maybe you're having a little burst of spring weather. All right, so here's a question for all my fellow YouTubers. What do you do when you're out filming and somebody asks you what you're doing? Do you tell about your channel? Do you give them a business card? What do you do? So as we climb up the ridge here, you can kind of see there's the one building and there's the other, and these were the ones that were surrounded by the fence, but it gives you a cool vantage point to see them from here. I would say that I'm not super great about promoting myself. I should have business cards. I should have something when people ask me that I can give them to send them to the channel, but I don't. So I'm just curious, what do you guys do? When you run into somebody and they ask you what you're doing, do you tell them about the channel? I usually tell people, but the odds of people remembering the name of the channel and finding me are pretty slim. So I'm thinking maybe I need to just start carrying like little cards with the channel name on it or stickers or something like that. So be sure to let me know in the comments. So thanks for coming along with me today, guys. Please remember, leave a comment, like, subscribe, share this video with your friends. It really helps support me and the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great day.